When most people hear cosmetic science, they think of ingredients, lab coats, and safety. Fewer realize it's also a field rich in storytelling, where claims must be carefully framed, data interpreted, and language as influential as chemistry. For nearly 40 years, I worked in this realm, evaluating skincare claims, validating research, and translating science into consumer trust. My career centered on accuracy, regulation, and restraint. Over time, I became increasingly aware of a different truth. Cosmetics are sold not just for their function, but for desire. And desire holds great power. Hello, I'm Tess M. Calloway, the author of the Zoe Blaise Mysteries. The beauty industry relies heavily on trust. Once built, that trust can be leveraged, sometimes responsibly, sometimes not. I observed how evidence could be manipulated to suggest more than it proved, how innovation could obscure the truth, and how ethical boundaries widened as marketing outpaced oversight. This discomfort didn't fit neatly into academic papers or regulatory reports. However, it did find expression in fiction. Why crime thriller fiction? In 2019, I started writing the Zoe Blaise Mysteries using the pseudonym Tess M. Calloway. This pseudonym was chosen intentionally, not to hide my identity, but to set a boundary. It helped me distance myself from my professional persona and delve into darker aspects of an industry I knew well, without blurring the lines between fiction and reality or contributing to misinformation. Crime thriller writing gave me narrative freedom, allowing me to pose questions I couldn't ask publicly and to explore consequences beyond regulatory limits. What if marketing language became a tool for harm? What if behavioral science was exploited to manipulate rather than inform? What if the systems meant to protect consumers secretly failed them? These what-if questions are the heart of the series. Cosmetic science. Enter Zoe Blaise. Zoe Blaise isn't a scientist. She's a financial fraud investigator skilled in tracking incentives, patterns, and money instead of molecules. This perspective is deliberate. Zoe views systems like outsiders do, with critical skepticism rather than reverence. Her work in the beauty industry isn't because she understands formulations, but because she spots common warning signs, secrecy, conflicting incentives, and corporate strategies that view risk as collateral damage. In Pink Bobbit, the series opens with a grotesque crime tied to cosmetic products. What initially appears sensational gradually reveals an internal logic rooted in ambition and exploitation. As Zoe digs deeper, laboratories, supply chains, exclusive nightclubs and boardrooms replace crime scenes, exposing how beauty can become both weapon and motive. Cold indifference widens the scope, shifting from individual crimes to systemic behavior. The novel explores how clinical data, consumer psychology, and corporate insulation can enable harm at scale, not through force, but through seduction and addictive dependency. Digital Facade pushes further still, introducing AI, behavioral modeling, and tech-driven beauty platforms. A fictional Silicon Valley billionaire promises personalization, but what's really at stake is influence, the ability to shape perception, desire, and self-worth algorithmically. While exaggerated, the science underpinning the story is firmly grounded in real developments already underway. Cosmetic science, writing at the edge of reality. I don't create impossible science. Each formulation, trial design, and claim in the series is based on current technologies or industry standards. The tension stems from proximity, how near fiction is to reality before it feels unsettling. For me, that's where the most gripping stories emerge. The Zoe Blaise mysteries exist between proof and persuasion, data and desire. They capture the contradictions I've observed over decades, brilliance paired with hubris, innovation mixed with impatience, and ethics falling behind ambition. At its core, the series isn't about cosmetics. It's about systems, and what happens when the stories we create to market products start to influence behaviour rather than serve people. That question keeps guiding my work, both as a scientist and a writer. What occurs when the science of beauty ceases to protect consumers and begins to control them? Do join me on this shared space, a place where storytelling and science converge, the real cosmetic science behind the fiction, the development of the characters, and the writing process that brings everything to life. Whether you're a reader, a fellow scientist, a beauty professional, or simply someone who loves a well-crafted mystery, I hope you'll join me on this journey. If you've already read Pink Bobbit, or have started, thank you for stepping into Zoe's world. And thank you for your generous reviews. Your support and curiosity keep her stories alive. And if you're new to the series, I invite you to begin where it all began, with Pink Bobbit, where a trail of lipsticks, lies, and loss sets everything in motion. Zoe Blaise's world is certainly one of beauty, fear, danger, truth, and illusion. Subscribe, follow, and join me as the next chapter begins. In Zoe's world, even the gloss holds depth.